The next record, I told you about a couple of weeks ago. I played a record from Edwin Starr, who is, if you know, Motown's one of the Motown stable, if you like. I would call him Motown legend. You remember songs like War? We played Contact, I think, at the time. There were other songs like Disco. He, unbelievably, moved to my village in the 80s. And it was, as I said before, a very unremarkable village. That's not something against the village, which is called Polesworth in the Midlands. It's just a fact. It was nothing, it wasn't in the top 10 villages in the country, anything like that. He just, whatever reason, probably for a location in the Midlands, so he could go to lots of gigs within the UK from a central point. So he moved over there. And that was incredible to think that I had a pop star in a relatively small village. Although I didn't seek him out at the time because I don't think I was, a big fan necessarily then, not really realizing, how important it was in music, etc. Anyway, to have one person who is a rock star in your village is coincidence. What is it when you have two? Yeah, literally up the road from the village, you could call it on the boundaries of the village, was a little place called Albuquerque, and a guy called Julian Cope used to live in that very small outskirt village to my village. And as we all know, Julian Cope was part of Teardrop Explodes. He moved up to Liverpool to go to college in the 70s, and he met up with initially Ian McCulloch, who was in Echo and the Bunnymen, and also Pete Wiley, who was in the Mighty War. So he mixed in all the circles with these guys who were, you got people like Pete Burns, and in Dead or Alive, and you had the Frankie guys, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And then he formed a band with Teardrop Explodes, a guy called David Balfe, and David Balfe went on to launch Food Records, which then Blur was part of Food Records because it was part of EMI. Anyway, so there's this big long history of music and connections with Julian Cope. So that was again another amazing, person who was just within, certainly for someone like me who was massively into music, it was just a stone throw from where I live.